because if you are walking and you are moving, right? Rather than just buying, if you are moving your body and you're actually exercising your body in motion, I think shopping is actually not that bad as a, so as a time waster, we're talking about like excessive shopping. We're talking about like spending probably like 5 or 6 hours in the changing room where you're just like going through like 40 different shirts and 20 different types of pants and skirts and and that's I think sort of like the time wasting portion. But if you are one of those people that loves to just be a couch potato, but you are choosing to get out, but you need something to entertain your eyes visually, then shopping, or walking around a shopping mall is actually not a bad idea. Um, I know for some people you can totally just enjoy an afternoon of exercising while you're walking around the mall, not buying anything. So that's the hard part, is that you have some self-control and not consume while you are making the most of your shopping time. But if you do buy a few things, to reward yourself, go right ahead, just don't go excessive on that. So needless to say, online shopping, that's off the charts. I definitely don't recommend that, because you really are, the only thing you're exercising is probably your fingers, and it'll probably end up giving you trigger fingers. So I really don't, I'm not a big fan of online shopping. But I guess with COVID and all, it's kind of hard to, kind of go out into the shopping mall. So anyway, so those were kind of like the little surprises that I found in that list. But most of them I kind of agree with. It's unfortunate, but we do spend too much time on social media and our phones. So one of the principles that I wanted to share with you guys today about how to manage that is something that I learned from one of my mentors, about setting time limits for checking your inbox. I thought that was really neat. Like, I've heard about it before, and I personally don't really struggle with that, because if anything, I don't check my inbox enough. So if anything, I've had to actually like schedule time to check my inbox. But in the midst of that process, I've realized that a lot of people actually check their inbox all the time, and they're really on top of things, which is great. But if you are one of those people that maybe checks your inbox too much time, and then you get derailed by all the crazy emails that come in, what you can do is you can like set up like maybe like 2 slots in the day, or maybe even 3 slots. So long as you have like a time limit per se, and it could be a range. It doesn't have to be exact. But I thought it was really neat how if you set it up so that it's perhaps not the first thing in the morning. That is the golden rule by every single guru that I've spoken to, is that you do not ever open up your inbox first thing in the morning. That decreases your your productivity rate by 30% and more. So don't do it first thing in the morning. But if you set it up so that, by the time you are opening up your inbox for the first time, it's around like 11 o'clock, that would be a nice, happy medium, time frame. Of course, if you are required by your job to open it by 9 o'clock, go ahead, do what you have to do. But I would probably keep it to about 30 minutes, and then go ahead and actually, move into what you have to do for the day before you, end up spending like an hour to 2 hours on your inbox, just trying to clear it, to try to respond to emails and stuff like that. So just give yourself 30 minutes, and then you can always come back to it, right? Honestly, with email, I feel that everybody is always like so set on like getting things right away that, there's no time to breathe sometimes. So 11 o'clock would be a good time to have like a 30-minute block. And then a 3 p.m. in the afternoon. That's like a really happy balance, I think, 11 o'clock and 3 o'clock. And, try to stay within about 30 minutes per check. So I thought that was really, really interesting. Now, another strategy that I've been shown is to actually stop reacting and responding, right? So get clear and make a list the night before. Like this, my mentor, quite a few of my mentors actually said, we got to get into the habit of starting to look at the day, the previous night, and this was something that was really hard for me to get into the habit of, because, I kind of have a nightly routine, and it usually doesn't involve like planning for the next day. If anything, I usually plan, like on the weekend. So I'm just a different creature all in itself. But I have started to employ a little bit of planning the night before, just so that I could be a little bit more on top of things. So there's been quite a few little things that I've been sort of playing around with, to try to, maximize my productivity and maximize my days and how I do things. So I'll certainly share those with you as they become successful. Everybody knows me. Like, I am definitely one of those people. I need to try it out probably 1,000 times before I'll recommend something. So yeah, I'm still in the process of experimenting with a lot of different variations. And I'm never, conventional. I always kind of have to tweak it to fit my style. So I wanted to make sure that, I've already tried and made sure that it's easy enough to implement before I say anything. So to get back to the reactive mode and the responding mode, it's basically, if we're talking about, cleaning your inbox, you're reacting and you're responding based on whatever's coming in from the inbox, right? And so that's why if you limit your time to those particular spots, then you're able to delegate the rest of your time to actually doing a lot more things. The next thing that I find really useful actually is to have what I call unrealistic pressure. Forgive yourself. Just stop it. Just stop it. Like, don't let unrealistic pressure overwhelm you, because you will put that type of pressure on yourself. For those who listen to my podcast, most likely you are one of those people. You put undue pressure on yourself. Whether it is that you want to complete something, at a certain time frame, and it is, I say, unrealistic, right? Quote unquote, because, we often give ourselves much shorter deadline time frames than the process requires. And then we expect ourselves to complete it. And it is just extra stress that you don't need in your lives, right? So I definitely want to encourage you to avoid, that to-do list overwhelm, especially when you know that, if there are things that you need more time on, give yourself more time. I mean, unless the building's going to burn down, make sure you give yourself enough time. And, that kind of brings me into this whole topic of multitasking, which I think we should probably break down in another episode, or episodes, because multitasking is one of those things that have been debated back and forth. A lot of people, they're pro multitasking. I myself have never been a good multitasker. So for me, I've never had a problem with not multitasking, right? Because I've just never been able to. But apparently in the modern day, a lot of, very highly productive people are saying don't multitask. So I'm like, hey, I'm with you on that one, because I've never been able to multitask anyway. So, but the key area that they are trying to, I guess, teach people to do by not multitasking is because a lot of people aren't able to focus. Right? And so they want people to be able to focus more. And if you don't multitask, the chances of you focusing are going to be a lot higher. They have actually done a lot of new research on the topic of focus in itself. And I'm just going to briefly share what I've recently, in the past few months, just learned about focus. Apparently, so in your brain, there is a default network mode that gets activated when you are in absolute focus. You know, these parts of your brain actually turn on, they get activated. And during that activation, there is a release of neurotransmitters. This is the only time that your brain will release at the same time these neurotransmitters. And in the process of that simultaneous release of that neurotransmitter scenario is when you get in the zone. Like, you know, some people, especially athletes, right? This is where they've done a lot of research in, you know, athletes who are in the zone, you know, or they describe that, you know, they get that in the zone moment, you know, and they're just like, you know, just like at their absolute like best, you know, basically that's what's happening. Their default network mode has been activated. And those 5 neurotransmitters, boom, simultaneously at the same time, creates that for them. So it's really fascinating, you know, the type of research that's coming out on a lot of these topics. So we will break down focus a little bit more in another episode, but I just kind of wanted to share that with you guys. So yeah, try out some of the strategies that I've talked about. You know, stop wasting time, right? Or maximize those activities that are technically time wasters that were a surprise. And, you know, make sure that you're making sure that you delegate just enough to maximize that activity and save the rest of the time for your important tasks of the day. Secondly, that's number one. Secondly, stop, you know, looking at your phone first thing in the morning. I know it's very, very hard for most people to do, and set time limits of about 30 minutes, checking your inbox time only 2 to 3 times during those set scheduled periods of your day, if you absolutely can. And also avoid to-do list overwhelm by stopping unrealistic pressure. You know, you can plan a little bit the night before, but, you know, you absolutely need to stop giving yourself that extra pressure and give yourself enough time to actually do what you need to do. Now, one little extra tidbit that I think could also help, you know, for those people who are more visual, what you can do is you can create like little warning sticky notes, you know, those really bright ones, you know, so go to Costco or, you know, those big box stores and get yourself those like, you know, big packs of Post-it notes that have the bright colors. You know, I have a big pack of those with orange and neon pink and bright blue and neon green. Those are awesome. So what you could do is you could create warning labels for yourself. You can write, close all your email inboxes, close all social media, close all the pop-ups. But one of the key ones that I think has really helped me over the years is to turn your phone to silent. Yes, I have been guilty, and I have been scolded plenty of times by both my husband, my brother, my mom and dad, everybody, that I never pick up my phone. And I feel so guilty, but it's something that has helped me just kind of create that, you know, that distance between me and the phone so that I don't have the urge to want to pick it up all the time. And I think when I established that habit, then it may have backfired a little bit on my family, and me not answering the phone became a little bit too good of a habit for me, but not so good on the people who are trying to reach me. So, you know, if you put a sticky note to remind yourself to turn your phone to silent, I think it really does help. And it, you know, the more you do it, the better you're going to get at it, right? So stewardship of your time is one of the biggest things that I think we can do for ourselves. You know, remember, You can always get your money back.